Hey everyone, guess who's back? It's the commish back here now, this time with our LOC playoff preview across the tier format as well as Dynasty. And we're going to start right there with Dynasty. And we're going to start with Memphis Devil Dogs as the 8th seed coming in, taking on No More, 7-7 for Devil Dogs, taking on No More, 14-0. I am going to be skipping through a few screens here as Cole gave me his predictions as well. So I'll also kind of give you a sense of what he has for us here today. Um, Looking at points for, of course, we know No More completely dominated the points for this year. And in fact, he has 840 more points than Memphis Devil Dogs this year. So that's going to be tough for Devil Dogs. My prediction, I think No More looks unstoppable. The running back strength is next level. And now you look at guys like maybe Jalen Wright even possibly getting things done with, Devin A-Chain maybe might be out. Who knows? We don't know what's going on there. No More also has Chase. He's got CD, which equals scary to me. The weakness right now for Chris No More's quarterback, right? And I noticed you picked up Philip Rivers. I don't know if he's going to be the answer as the second quarterback, but him and Bryce Young's a bit scary, right? I'll be honest. But the reality from my perspective is Devil Dogs is outmatched in pretty much every category. This is the first meeting between the two teams. So my prediction is going to be No More. So Lucas and Green Lightning says No More over Devil Dogs. No More's team is very strong, but the no quarterback could hurt him later on. Could be a close game, but IDP definitely an advantage for No More. So also going with No More in this one. Next up, what a matchup we got here. It's Sabatica Spartans versus Age Crew, and we're talking about teams that are very close in terms of point four. Literally 15 points separated the two teams. It's second in scoring versus third in scoring in Dynasty. I'm sure these two probably wish they didn't get matched up against one another, but for everybody else, it's great to watch. 7-7 for Sabatica this year, 10-4 for the Age Crew. My prediction here, injuries has helped Sabatica. So what do I mean by that? Bam Knight, Michael Wilson, Blake Corum have all come key contributors to his team. And I guess my question is, will it continue? I do think Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers is a pretty dangerous duo at quarterback as well. Of course, for the Age Crew, he does have Mahomes and Herbert, but they only combined for 2 points last week. When I see that happen, though, you got to wonder if they go off the next week, right? And that's what I got going on. Will they go off this week? Other people underperformed on Age Crew's team for Flex 14. DJ Moore was awful, and some others. I'll be honest, my note for this one is it's way too close to call. They have played earlier this year. Age Crew did beat Sabatica earlier this year. I am gonna predict that Age Crew does find a way to pull it out, though. In terms of he's got Age Crew versus Sabatica. I think it will be a high scoring one. Both teams 300 plus, but I think Age Crew will come out on top. Chiefs for Chargers will be a high scoring game, and so will Bills Patriots. Dushan has Cook and Allen, but Age Crew has Hendo, Mahomes, and Herbert. So is going to go with Age Crew pulling out the victory there as well. Next up, we got Couch and Chicken Turtles coming in at 8-6 as the 6th seed, taking on Golden Knights. Milan winning the mixed bag at 9-5. For me, when I look at this, I have a no Couch, and do you only have Baker? I think that you do only have Baker. You're not utilizing your IR either, which I think is a mistake. I think you have the tools, but not using everything in your toolkit. That's the message I have for Cowichan, whereas I look at Golden Knights, Dak and Lamar give you a significant advantage at quarterback. Also got to think Kelsey bounces back and just strong point producers throughout the lineup. Knights did play Cowichan earlier this year and did beat Cowichan earlier this year. And my prediction is going to be Golden Knights to win this one. For He's got Golden Knights over Cowichan, no second QB in a two quarterback league. Hurts Cowichan, and unfortunately, it's Ketch and Kelsey versus the Chargers, so he'll be open for 10 plus yards in the middle of the field every play. So he feels the same way I do. You know what, Kelsey having the bad game, the embarrassing drop. I think he's going to come back and go off, him and Mahomes, and I think that's going to be the difference as well for Golden Knights to proceed. And obviously, feels the same way. All right, next up, we got an international battle here. It's Clengy versus Finito again, part 4 this year. Finito's won all 3 meetings so far against Clengy, won the division, won the money. And yeah, Clengy just can't find a way to beat Finito. Both teams 8-6. What I have here are my notes. I have Clengy. He's got some questions with the A-chain injury, obviously. Hertz was -7 this week, which was just awful, but I got to wonder if he's going to bounce back. For Finn, I got Stroud and Purdy, could be really solid this week, but is Ndunze healthy, right? So that's a question mark. Again, this one I feel is really way too close to call, but guess what? I am going to go with Finito once again to find a way to beat Clengy. Co's notes are he's got Clengy over Finito. So this is one where we disagree on. He says, I think Pickens and Hurts have better games this week compared to last week. So that's his note there. So he is going to go with Clengy, whereas I'm going to go with Finito continuing his winning ways against Clengy. Should be a thriller, though. All right, so next we make it up to Tier 3, and in Tier 3, there are 2 teams that have the playoff buys. It's myself, family discounts, as well as my wife is hotter. My wife is hotter has already booked his ticket to Tier 2. It's just what team he's going to be able to pick and what seeding he's going to end up at. Our first matchup here is going to be Hot Chuba Time Machine, which is the American Division champion, taking on Wildcard Ooh Spicy, coming out of the Canadian Division. Ooh Spicy 7-7, Hot Chuba 9-5. Ooh Spicy actually had more points for than Hot Chuba Time Machine, though. He had 35 more points for throughout the year. My note on this one says I honestly think this one is going to come down to how well Josh Allen will perform against New England. I feel that Ooh Spicy does have a more balanced lineup. Okay, I got a strong sense that Josh Allen will make a statement, though, and it's the first meeting between these 2 teams, so we don't have a track record of how these 2 teams have performed. But because Josh Allen, I think, is going to make a statement, I am going to go with Hot Chuba winning this one over Ooh Spicy, just because I think he will make that statement. Next up, we got an international division battle. It's Throwbacks who snuck in on the last, I guess you could say, week of the season, and it was a thriller to watch, taking on Black Dog, who's 8-6. Black Dog is already 2-0 versus Throwbacks earlier this year. The way I look at these lineups, Black Dog definitely has a QB decision to make, as well as make sure guys like Amon Ra get in, because he didn't have him in this past week in the lineup, and I know a lot of people thought he was out, and I guess Thursday night games can be tough. CMAC back is obviously going to help Black Dog too, and here's the thing. San Francisco's playing Tennessee, right? So CMAC could very well go off for 40, 50. And that's going to be tough to look at. But when I look at Throwbacks lineup, he's got Chase, he's got Puka. But just like me in Tier 1 Throwbacks, I don't have Drake London. I don't think he's going to make it in. That would have been one of the most dangerous wide receiver trios in the league. You still have a dangerous wide receiver duo. But not having Drake London is going to hurt. You know what? I think this one's really too close to call, and it depends how many points C-Mac does put up against Tennessee. But I am going to give the win to Throwbacks. Throwbacks has proved himself all year in terms of, putting up a fair amount of points as well in terms of points for. And it's funny because between these 2 teams, it's a 7-point difference in points for the year, with Black Dog having 7 more points than Throwbacks. So that's how close this one's going to be. I think it's going to be a thriller, but I am going to give the edge to Throwbacks in this one. Okay, next up, we make it up to tier two, and we got our eighth seed here, Josh and Silver Bullets, last year's tier three champion, finds a way to get into tier two, taking on 14-0 Scottish Highlanders. And is it Highlanders year? Tier two is going to be interesting in terms of my predictions, and I think the theme's going to be some good teams are going to fall off, and it's going to be tough to watch, to be honest, because I think some of these teams deserve to get to tier one. But let's just start out. So when I look at Silver Bullets, Bijan, Bucky, Chase, Puka, and Igbuka for Bullets at wide receiver and running back, that's a strong group. And then when we look at Scottish Highlanders, he's got JSN. He's been incredible for him. The other thing I think is I do think Kelsey's going to bounce back this week for Scottish Highlanders. I just think he's obviously got embarrassed, and I think he's going to find a way. When I look at the matchup here, I think that maybe Jordan Love might struggle a little bit in Denver for Scottish Highlanders. These two teams did play earlier this year in week 9, and Highlanders beat Bullets by 11. But I'm going to go a shocker here, and Scottish Highlanders has the perfect season, and he's out in round one. I got Josh and Silver Bullets pulling out the victory here, which would just be devastating for Scottish Highlanders and such a great season. But that's what I got. I got Josh and Silver Bullets finding a way to get through in round one here. All right, next up, we got Purple Unis taking on Johnny 8 Balls, myself, Uni 7-7, 8 Balls 11-3. And, just like Scottish Highlanders drawing Silver Bullets, me being the second seed, I draw the third highest scoring team in the league. And for Scottish Highlanders, he drew the fifth highest scoring team in the league. So just the top two seeds here is just one of those scenarios where it's just not a great scenario. And when I look at it for unis, well, the running backs with Barkley, let's face it, anyone that had Saquon Barkley this year, it's not been great, right? But I look at her tight ends with Bowers and Ferguson. That's best in the league caliber, no doubt about that. For me, injury issues, right? I think I'm cursed when it comes to the fantasy playoffs. You'll see it in tier one. It's here as well. A-Chain, is he out for me? Marvin Harrison, is he still out? I have a feeling one or both will be. The reality is I've already beat unis twice this year, but guess what? Come playoff time, it all changes, and I'm going upset again. Purple unis with the win. So I have Silver Bullets 8th seed, Purple Uni 7th seed. Both those teams were in the tier 3 finals last year, to be honest. And we could very well see it again. And I have Unis and Silver Bullets finding a way to get through over the top two seeds in tier 2 in absolute shockers. Next up, we got Bishop Sycamore, Memphis Mafia. Sycamore coming in at 8-6. Memphis Mafia, the American Division champ, coming in at 9-5. I have a feeling though they shut Higgins down this week for Mafia, and that's going to hurt him. There's no doubt about that. Sycamore, when I look at the lineup, has better balance throughout the lineup, I feel, and he's also got Jameer Gibbs. And Jameer Gibbs can win games on his own. We've seen it all year long. We've seen it since he's been in the league, really. These two teams did play earlier this year. Mafia did take the win over Bishop Sycamore. And, when I look at the points for between these two, it's pretty close, right? 65-point difference with Memphis Mafia having slightly more points over the year than Bishop Sycamore. But my prediction, guess what? First seed's out, second seed's out, third seed's out. I got Bishop Sycamore with the shocker taking out the third seed as well, and 3 division champs looking towards next year, and just shockers all the way through. And it'll be interesting to see if those do come to fruition. And then lastly, we got our Canadian Division 2 champ Jordan McLovin taking on Sandusky Sandmen. 8-6 versus 8-6. So this one's going to be a dandy. Here's the thing, though. Sandman needs a quarterback at the worst time of the year right now on the roster. Daniel Jones, Michael Penix. You might have very well picked up one on waivers here this morning. Sorry, I didn't have a look, and I hope you did, right? Because obviously you need to. Here's the thing with Jordan McLovin, and this has been a theme in some of the other tiers. I do get a feeling that Josh Allen succeeds in New England. I think the injuries at quarterback for Sandusky Sandman, at least to me, look like a big difference. I know Sandman did beat McLovin earlier this year. He is 1-0 versus him. And when I look at the point difference, yeah, I mean, Sandusky Sandman has 130 more points for than Jordan McLovin. But again, when you have guys like Josh Allen in the fantasy playoffs and you don't have a quarterback at the worst time of the year, that's going to be likely the difference. So I am going to go with Jordan McLovin as the only division champ to get through in round one in tier two. All right, folks. So we make it to tier one here, and we start with 14-0 Finito trying to get the perfect season, taking on the 8th seed Milan in the 6. Milan in the 6, 8-6, taking on Finito 14-0. In their careers, the 6 has 1-0 versus Finito. They've met one time before in the past. In the playoffs, Finito is 1-1 in his career. The 6 0-3. So the 6 has never had a playoff win. He's an original owner in this league and has never had a playoff win. He would love to get one here and get the shocker upset. Willie. Well, here's the thing. I think Higgins is going to get shut down this week for the 6. He's one of his better players. And I think that's going to be a big part of the reason here and the big difference of why possibly Finn could get the win. But, when you look at Finn's team, it's not like it doesn't have its issues as well. Is a Chain out? Is he going to be hurt too? Here's the thing, though. I think Dart is the future in New York, and I have a feeling he's going to go off a little bit here against the Washington Commanders defense. Their defense looked horrible their last game. And I think with the bye that the Giants just had, it gives them an extra week of preparation. We know Finito had the most points for this year in the league. In fact, he has 680 more points for than the 6 to kind of put it into perspective of how overmatched possibly he is. I'm going Finito to win this one. Looking at Coe's commentary here, he's got Finito over the 6. He says deeper team, and the 6 has Caleb Johnson as RB3. So he's going to go with Finito as well. All right, next up we get our 7th seed, 12th man taking on Billsy Bob's, our 2nd seed, 8-6 versus 11-3. Career-wise, 12th man is 5-1 versus Finito, so he's definitely owned Finito in 6, or sorry, not Finito, Billsy Bob's in 6 games that they've played each other against. So, yeah, that's a significant advantage. Looking at their playoff records career, 12th man, 6-4, Billsy Bob's 1-2. For me, my commentary is I think this is going to be an easy win for Bob's. Brian's lineup is weak except running back. And, even when I look at the running backs, I feel like they've underperformed even a little bit. Billsy Bobs has Josh Allen, Jamar Chase. I predicted at the beginning of the year, I said, I said Bobs is going to do well. I said part of it is going to be Josh Allen, Jamar Chase in the playoffs. I mean, those guys are going to put up big numbers, and I think they're going to put up big numbers this week. And I think that's going to be the difference. And I have Billsy Bobs winning that one. For Coe and Green Lightning and Lucas, he says Billsy Bob's over 12th man. He says, why did Brian sell? Nuff said. All right, next up we got 6th seed Deuce Bombers 8-6 taking on myself. Whore Business 10-4. I couldn't ask for a worst draw in the first round getting Deuce Bombers. My notes here, I got, me and Deuce have played 4 times. We're 2-2 versus one another. I'm 5-5 in the playoffs and never had really a lot of success, whereas Deuce is 5-3. I do think Mahomes responds for Deuce after the bad game. I think Mahomes goes off, and I think C-Mac goes off for Tennessee and really give me no hope whatsoever. I think those two are probably going to put up 70 between the two of them, and that's going to be the difference. I am trying to hedge the C-Mac risk. I'm going to go Purdy, just because maybe it's a dump off pass to C-Mac and I get the touchdown points too. But I got London and numerous others out for me. Pretty much my entire bench is hurt. So that's going to be the difference. And I got Deuce Bombers winning. I'm cursed every time I make it to the playoffs. My lineup's never healthy. And I frickin' hate fantasy because of it. When we look at Coe's commentary, he's got myself over Deuce Bombers in a tight one. He says probably not the draw you were hoping for. Lots of factors. Will JT continue to put up lower double digits? C-Mac coming off the bye. Will Cincinnati keep winning? Garrett keeps getting 2 sacks a game. Will London still be out? He says he's got Commish sneaking through here, though. I don't think so. I think because of the London injury, I think if I had London, it'd be a lot closer, but I am going to go Deuce because of all my injuries. All right, lastly, we reach our last game here, folks, and it's fifth seed versus fourth seed. Sabatica Spartans 10-4 versus Chris and No More 10-4. Sabatica's 3-3 in the playoffs. This is No More's first playoff appearance in Tier 1. So Sabatica and No More have played each other 2 times before, and they've split those outcomes. I'll be honest, I'm having a very tough time picking a winner for this one, but I do think Hertz is going to bounce back for Sabatica Spartans with a huge game versus Vegas at home. And I also think Kelsey's going to bounce back from the embarrassing drop, right? So I think those two players are going to go off for Sabatica here in the fantasy playoffs. No More, I think, has great balance throughout the lineup. He truly does, but I feel those two bounce back games are going to be the difference for Hertz and Kelsey. And my prediction is going to be Sabatica Spartans. And, when we look at points for this year, Sabatica Spartans put up 32-45, No More 31-36. So Sabatica Spartans is the high scoring team over No More throughout the season. Um, it's funny. I got Co's notes here, and he thinks exactly like I do. He's got Sabatica over No More, big games from Hertz and Kelsey. So we're seeing the same things, bounce back games for these two guys after being embarrassed while on prime time for both last week. So, anyways, folks, that's your playoff prediction for round one. I will do this for round two, the semifinals, as well as the finals. And yeah, we only have 3 weeks of this left, folks. So enjoy the rest of the ride here. Bye for now.